Hello, good morning, friends. Today, it's my proud pleasure to have a very esteemed guest on our show and who needs no introduction at all. He has been my super senior from the school that I passed out from Alma Mater, where I grew up. Yes, Lawrence School, Lovedale. In fact, his wife, the famous painter Anjali Ila Menon, his son, also everyone, they studied the entire family. They have a tradition of going to Lawrence School, Lovedale. In fact, their niece was the head girl of I think 87 batch, and of course, Admiral Raja Menon had a very illustrious career in the Indian Navy. He retired as a Rear Admiral, and his writings, his analysis, his on strategical thinking, he's a think tank, is well known to everyone. So most certainly needs no introduction. But without talking further, let me welcome Admiral Raja Menon, sir. Jai Hind, and thank you very much for taking your time, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
So you are one of the early batches of Lawrence School, Lovedale, when the school was still under British rule. So tell us from the start, sir, how was it? How was Lawrence School, Lovedale then at that time, sir?
It was a complete military school. In fact, it was called the Lawrence Memorial Royal Military School. And I joined at the age of 8 in 1948. It was open to Indians only in August 1947. So when I joined in February 48, there were only two other Indian boys there. And life was a little difficult, uh, and we used to wear full military gear, including boots, hose tops, which I think, when I look back on it, putting it on a child of 8 years old is quite remarkable. And we did all the parade. We had a one period of military training before breakfast, and all the other military appurtenances.
Sir. Sir, and do you remember the names of the two other Indian boys along with you, or and are you still in touch with them by any chance?
Yeah, there was Humayun Nanrajgir, who is still around somewhere. I see him on Facebook. But he was a minor prince, and he decided that February was too cold for him, and he would appear in school only in April when it warmed up a bit. There was another boy called Reddy. I don't know which clan of Reddy he belongs to, but these were the only two Indian boys there at the time.
Sir. So, and how was it, sir? I mean, was there, because the time when I was there, I joined school in 1991, I finished in 1998. So that time we had something known as, it was very, very hierarchical, like seniors and juniors. So there was, so to say, bullying and ragging and such thing. And we were told that these have been passed on from old Britishers' times and old traditions, old customs, old norms. Was it like that in your time, sir?
Yeah, yeah, there was a lot of bullying and all that, except that the second standard, that is, eventually became the fourth class. Second standard and third standard were kept separately in what is today the junior school. It was called the Knapp and Stanley House. So there was a little bit of isolation from the seniors. But well, there was a fair amount of bullying, but there was also a lot of hero worship of the bigger boys. So it worked both ways, I think.
So, and I still remember, and I had gone to school in September. I was there. In fact, I was there in November as well. And it was nostalgia. When was the last you had visited Lovedale, sir?
Yeah, what is that again?
When was the last you had visited the good old school, sir?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, we used to go to school in February, and there was no midterm break, and the school closed down in November. So it was a long 9 months. And on Founders Day, there used to be a big church parade when the whole school marched to the church with fixed bayonets, a remnant of the 1857 mutiny, which took place on a Sunday. So the parade used to march past the flagstaff where the headmaster used to take the salute. And
Sir.
we used to rest our rifles and attend the church. Of course, the two Hindu boys were told that they could play during the church service. So we used to sit in the organ grinder's room and listen to the choral music.
Sir. So, and when was the last, after you passed out, did you visit school recently, sir?
Yeah, I went back. In fact, we went back as chief guest. Anjali and I were joint chief guests about 20 years ago. And that was very enjoyable. Uh, well, we thought things were quite ordinary, but I suppose history makes all the old happenings more interesting to the current lot. I remember when the military uniform was discarded for ordinary shoes and socks, stockings. We thought that was the end of the school at the time. And we also remember the time when curry and rice was served for the first time. There was a lot of excitement saying that we used to be served English food 3 times a day. And there was much excitement when they said in 1949 or 1950, I think, that curry and rice will be served from so and so date. And it turned out to be quite popular. And then, of course, the phenomenon of vegetarians came into the school. There were no vegetarians, and the vegetarians demanded idli and dosa in the morning. And everyone said this is going to be the end of the school, but it's still going.
Sir, so let's talk about, being a Lawrencian, I can ask you this. So, Mrs. Anjali Menon, your wife, you met her, you were classmates in school, if I'm not mistaken, sir.
What is that?
You and your wife, sir, Mrs. Anjali Ila Menon, you were classmates at Lawrence School, Lovedale, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yeah, we met in school.
You met in
Uh, yeah, we met in school, and after we left school, we corresponded. I joined the NDA, and she went to join JG School of Art. But we corresponded desultorily, but kept in touch with each other for many years, and
that is
uh, and the relationship continued.
that is so nice, sir. It's so inspiring, and that's like really, really very sweet. So, in which class did you meet Anjali, ma'am?
In the eighth or ninth class. Well, the girls came in 1951 or 52, and there were no Indian girls in 1948. So she was also one of the earliest Indian girls in school. But I think she came in 1951, I think. I'm not very sure. But
Sir.
at that age, boys hate girls, and girls hate boys.
So there was something known in our school known as Dame Touch. I don't know if
Yes,
it was
Dame
not
Touch.
there in
Yeah, Dame. There was Dame Touch. There was Dame Touch.
Dame Touch. And we would touch somebody and pass it on to that person. Dame Touch. As if it's something, I don't know what it is. What all mischievous things. Oh my god. So we had the batch that I joined school with in 1991, sir. The head boy in prep school, Bhaskar Barua, he was the head boy in junior school. He met his childhood sweetheart, Shagun Singh, in class fourth.
Yes.
And they went steady. And today they're married, happily married. They stay in Gurgaon, and I'm very much in touch with them. I met them recently at the Founders Day, sir. And we were remembering you. What a story.
Well, there were, I must say, I don't know, I can't say whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. There were a few school romances. There was Sunil Nehru, there was my sister in law Rajika and Michael Hosborough, although they were not in the same class.
Sir,
There were, that was inevitable in a co educational school, as long as it was kept within bounds during school hours.
very true, sir. Very true. So after Lovedale, you joined the NDA, and my analysis says you wouldn't have had any problems during the training at NDA because you'd already come from a military school. You'd already
That's
been
right.
trained that way. So tell me about how it was for you at the NDA, sir, after Lawrence School Lovedale.
Well, I found NDA very easy to adjust to because the standard of drill was pretty much the same. And all cadets have to pass what is called the drill square by the second term. But my drill instructor said that I was quite ready for the drill square in the very first term. Eventually, of course, I adjusted very well to the NDA. I won the gold medal in the sixth term. So I think I adjusted well. There was a tremendous amount of outdoor activities available, including riding and sailing and squash and tennis and uh, so you could choose any sports you like, and of course academics counted for the most.
That is so nice. That's so interesting. So after that, when you, in fact, were you very sure that you want to join the Navy only, or it was the defense forces? It was the love for the uniform, rising from Lawrence School. Because was it Army and Air Force also that you thought for a while, for a brief while?
Well, the Navy was considered a little bit of an elite service because the Navy was very small and it needed bright cadets, bright officers to join so that the Navy could expand. So you couldn't opt for the Navy unless you were in the top 50% percentile of the merit list. And I remember now that out of the first 10 boys in our course, three or four went to the Navy. So the Navy was considered an elite service at the time. But I think that changed later because the Army objected, saying that they were not getting the best products from the NDA. And the system was turned around completely.
Sir, so you rose to the height of becoming an admiral, a rear admiral in the Navy, and you had a very illustrious career in the Navy. So, tell us your thoughts on, and after picking up the rank of a rear admiral. I mean, of course, I mean, did you attribute it? What do you attribute to becoming an admiral to, sir? Your upbringing,
Well,
experiences?
well, there is a bit of a personal story of misfortune. I was my career was cut short a bit because when I was given command of a destroyer, I had an episode with my heart due to an unfortunate medication. I therefore couldn't take command of that destroyer, and that counted against me. So I couldn't become a three-star officer in the Navy and had to retire as a two-star because of my slightly lower medical category.
But so you have, I mean, the stature that you reached to, I mean, after retirement, and your articles are very well known and they're widely read across the world, not just in the Indian Navy, but by the
Yes,
Navy of the world, and on strategy and on your analysis is just bang on and just brilliant, absolutely. So those writing skills of yours, why did you always have a flair for writing, or you developed it
yes,
later
yes.
on?
I was very interested Well, history was my favorite subject, and I could listen to our history master in total fascination. And I developed an early interest in writing. During in the NDA, I took part in debates and won the best speaker competition and so on. But I started writing early on maritime history and then graduated slowly into maritime strategy. My first book, Maritime Strategy and Continental Wars, became a standard text. It
Sir,
became a standard text
I
for
hope
the
there's a glass
staff
of water next
college.
to you, sir. I hope there's a glass of water next to you. You can please sip a glass of water if you can, sir.
Yeah, yeah, I will have. I will have.
Sir, sir. Sir, it's been such a wonderful, so enjoyable being in conversation with you, sir. I really get inspired by you, and I always had this in my mind, sir, that one day I am going to be speaking to Admiral Raja Menon. And of course, sir, may I ask who was the headmaster, who was the HM there that time, 20 years back when you and Anjali ma'am had gone for the as a chief guest for the Founders Day, sir?
Well, when I joined, there was a Britisher by the name of Major retired Richardson.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes.
He was
Very
he. Boys used to make fun of him because he had a few teeth missing, so he couldn't articulate his words carefully. Then we had Mr. Suraj Ban, who was sent where after the British left. And then we had Mr. Mohan Lakhani. And finally, of course, we had the great KIT Thomas, KI Thomas.
of course, sir.
And he, of course, stayed as headmaster in the school for 21 years.
So the names you took just now, sir, I remember as small children in 1991 looking at the board outside Large Hall and the roll of honors and our previous head boys and our
That's
previous
right.
headmasters and looking at the names of the initial headmasters. I
That's right.
remember very, very clearly these names, Major Richardson. In fact, I was in similar conversation with the group captain Kasha. He is one of a very, very senior around your time
Yes,
itself.
yes.
He was talking about Major Richardson. In fact, that's the time I was like, wow, it was a very very nice. So, and who was the headmaster who had invited you as a chief guest, sir, 20 years back, if I may ask? And I think the HM made the right choice and the right decision, and I'm very happy to hear
I'm
that, sir.
sorry I don't recollect who the headmaster was,
Sir,
but I think it was Mr. Bhatnagar.
Okay, sir. Okay.
I'm not very sure. But
Maybe.
let me tell you a story. That is that um, where the kids' store is, it's a fairly isolated spot. And the rumor among the boys was that all headmasters, the ghosts of all headmasters, used to walk that corridor on Thursdays with their heads under their arms. So headmasters never left school. When they
Sir.
died, they became ghosts and continued to live in Lawrence School.
Yes, sir. Sir. Same stories were told to us, in fact. Sir, yes,
Yes,
sir. Sir,
yes,
absolutely. Sir. And these traditions have passed on. And in fact, Mr. Dev Lahiri was the headmaster during my time, sir, when I had joined, when I passed
yes,
out.
yes, yes,
He would often talk about you and Mrs. Angelina Menon, and he would very, very fondly, very, very fondly.
yes,
So,
yes, 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 yes.
sir,
I mean, we've had a good run of headmasters, good run of headmasters. Some headmasters have tried to tinker with the tradition of the school, but have met fierce opposition from both the OLs and the boys. There was a headmaster who suggested banning the Founders' Day parade. There was a hue and cry. There was another headmaster who attempted to cancel the cross country race. He was also met with huge opposition from the little boys who said, "No, we want to run the cross country."
So, but I mean, our school is great, and our institution of the armed forces is great. And so, what is a more deadly combination than that? Being from Lawrence School, Lovedale, and being a Fauji. Sir, thank you very much for your time, and truly grateful and truly indebted to you, sir, for taking your time, sir. I've been wanting. It was my deep, burning desire to be in this conversation for many, many not years, but many, many decades. Thank you very much, sir, and my regards to ma'am.
Not
Jai
at
Hind, sir.
all. Thank you very much for this time on the air. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Jai Hind, sir.
And good day.
Good day, sir. I'll just go off air just a minute.